there.
All right, seeing that it's 5 o'clock, I'm gonna call the meeting to order for the Wage and Personnel Committee, Tuesday, September 10th. This meeting is being recorded by Zoom. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at the time. Items may be taken out of order at the discretion of the chair. The purpose of the meeting tonight, we have one appointment with Tina Betty, the Human Resources Manager, and Keith Hickey, the Town Administrator, to discuss the position of Inspector of Building / Zoning Enforcement Officer and grading. Tina, I will turn it to you.
Thank you. So thank you for meeting out of cycle so that we can get moving on this and get it hopefully on the fall town meeting. So our current community development director has resigned. In their role, they also were the building or the inspector of buildings zoning enforcement officer. So upon their resignation, we reassess, Keith and Keith will bring to the Board of Selectmen tonight if they want to go back to just having a position that just oversees the building part of the town versus building planning and conservation, which is what the community development position was. So the wage and personnel bylaw has a inspector of building zoning enforcement officer as a title. But because it was vacant, it was never part of a recent study, and so it was never graded. So what Keith and I provided you with, this is the job description that, for the most part, it was the inspector of building zoning enforcement job description from before when the position was had somebody in it. Again, this didn't go to the study. So you'll see very few red lines because it's almost as if we're looking at it as a brand new position. We are asking for a change in the title to building commissioner / zoning enforcement officer. That tends to be what people or what towns are calling their building inspectors these days. We are recommending, and you'll see in the JAQ, that it should be at a grade 11. So the big piece about the job description that, again, it wasn't redlined, but there's a requirement, as we've been told by the current community development director, that Massachusetts has a state building commissioner's license requirement. That's what you need in order to sign off on licenses, permits. And so the way the job description reads is to have that in hand or have 18 months to receive it. Understanding that if we hire someone without it and they don't receive it, then they won't have the job anymore. So we move it back to market. So that's the job description. The JAQ, Keith went through this, I went through this, and happy to answer any questions.
I went through it and it was very well read. It was very well. It was the easiest classification I've met since I started.
When it's a new job, it's easier, right?
It's like, yeah, okay.
Right.
The state building commissioner license. That's the new one.
That's the new one. So there actually was an additional one from the old job description, but I believe it was preferred, whereas this needs to be required and or get it. So
yeah. So the construction supervisor license, I didn't understand. What does unrestricted mean?
I believe it's similar to being like a local inspector where you can sign off on different the different trades pieces, but
Okay.
not like the overall building.
Okay.
Permit.
Okay. Yeah, because everything was very clear.
Just little stuff.
Of course.
On
What am I looking at?
the JAQ.
Yep.
Under factor 8.
Yep.
Walking no to the yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. There was also a typo about states instead of states, but I think that was in the job description.
Okay. I'll look at that.
The other question I had, everything else was fine. And I understand how you did it. The current grade for the community development officer is 13.
Right.
So this is going down to grade 11.
Yep.
Okay. is this the natural step back to possibly?
So the way and the way Keith is gonna talk about it at the board of selectmen meeting tonight is, right now, this is what the needs of the town are, and so let's go back to the square.
Yeah.
You know, if 5 years, 10 years, 3 months, whatever happens, you know, if we have a need to have something more encompassing, so it has multiple departments, at least it's still there.
Mhm.
But whether this position will transition into that position ever, we don't know.
All right, and then the only other thing that I have
Yeah.
is I want you to take a look at the highlighted orange of your job description.
My, like, the
This is the
night
one you
chart.
did. This
Oh,
is the one
okay,
you
what we
did.
just gave, okay, yep,
Okay?
yep.
That orange is you, okay?
Right, is this what, did I give the whole thing?
You gave me the whole
Okay,
job
yeah.
description, but I highlighted that one sentence in orange that I wanted you to look at.
Okay.
And then I wanted to make a recommendation for a change.
There's absolutely.
So this is from the town of Canton.
Mm-hmm,
That's what I'd like to possibly see with a little more teeth.
Yeah,
So, and I don't know how you feel about it, so I want you to look at it
Sure.
and just give me an opinion.
it makes perfect sense because if he has no teeth.
I think that's fine, without knowing the ins and outs of the job in general, I think that's fine. I looked at a couple of job descriptions that were posted as well. I got some language from those as well.
Yeah, you know, your language is good because
Yeah.
I saw it myself, but I grabbed that one because as I was reading it, I just said, you know, see what he thinks.
Mm-hmm,
But that's just a recommendation because ours seemed a little too, you know, so if somebody violates, what do you do?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Because there's no way to connect his authority to execution. I mean, he has nothing, you're right, you're
So
right.
that was the one thing I'd like to see.
okay,
That's good.
I hopefully they'll give that back to you.
that's all right, no.
The other thing from the point of discussion was that, when I did my search for, salary level.
Yeah.
For building commissioners, it's right there in the sweet spot,
Good.
okay?
Yeah.
And, you know, more than a building inspector. Okay, but not quite a community development director, so it's really right in between.
Kind of in the middle, yeah.
Yep, so. So I'll give that to you, and then can I have another one back? The orange one? Thanks.
She's really kind of touchy.
So
Well,
that's,
Tina, do you need this?
No, I just
she
took a
just took a
picture of it,
picture of it,
Oh,
okay?
hoping it came out fine.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, I don't have any issues with it.
no.
I don't have any other questions. I think it's a good thing to do because of the need in the town, and I think, and you guys should be honestly, I think, commended to pick it up right away and jump with it, so I appreciate it. So,
It's
all
fine.
right, you came in, we're just about done.
Yeah, because the one that we were just talking about, that sentence, I wrote a check back with a question. It's like, that means something's happening.
So, short version, bring you up to date, everything looked fine to us, no issues. There was one suggestion I asked to change. I'll show it to you, you can look at it, that's yours in orange. And this is what I found that I would love to see it in our language. In pink. Just to add a little more teeth.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
she took a picture.
I took a picture of it. We have to
Yeah,
get
she
it
got
there,
it. So I'm giving that back to Jeff. So that was the, and we just changed the JHU that the guy does walk daily.
Yes.
So there was just one line.
Box,
Box wasn't checked.
Good, well, I appreciate you.
So at least we read it.
That's good. I appreciate you guys stepping in and helping out and coming in as early as you can. The board, just to give you guys an idea, if I'm regurgitating something she said, just tell me
Okay.
to stop. I'm bringing the proposal to the board of selectmen tonight. I believe they'll support it, but I don't know that.
Well, the fact that the previous position is grade 13 and you go into a grade 11,
Well, it's a money savings there, right? But
Yeah.
more importantly.
but also it's the need of the town. for
It's the need of the town. I've spoken to the existing, I've spoken to Jason, who's leaving, to go back to Plymouth. And he supports the change to building inspector. So Commissioner,
building
excuse me,
commissioner.
building commissioner, inspector. So I don't think there'll be a lot of pushback, we'll see, but,
Now, the only other question I had, conservation will do their own enforcement now?
they do now.
I know, but isn't Jason involved?
Well, so the idea, when I came here, there was a suggestion by some board members that we try to appoint a community development director to kind of oversee land use. And candidly, I think it hasn't had as much success as I hoped it would have. From conservation's point of view, maybe strong, but more so than planning. I think conservation feels there's a bit of a conflict between development and conservation, right?
Yeah.
So, there's communication that goes on between planning, conservation, excuse me, and building, but,
But the nice thing about the community director was that in the event of a conflict, okay, you had somebody who was kind of sitting between the two, maybe bring the two sides together. Right now, the fear is the conservation that the hills in, based strictly on the law. What happens? Who's the judge?
understood. So the judge is me.
That's my question.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, what this does is it eliminates, a level of oversight where, Jason had been reporting to me, or the community development director had been reporting to me, and the two or three other positions we reported to Jason. Now I'm gonna have
Correct.
very similar to what happened with the assistant town administrator position, right? But now it's gonna go back to how it was
Mhm.
3.5 years ago, and so I will have to play. I'll be the referee if need be. With the current cast of characters, I'm not at all concerned that one of the people involved in the potential issue is gonna go rogue.
Right.
I think they all have their passion for what they do, but I also believe that they act in a very reasonable way and understand the bigger picture.
I just figured. it would
I
answer
appreciate
questions.
that. Yeah, I appreciate getting quizzed, because you're right.
That was my concern was that was gonna drop off and that, but I totally understand, and I said that you guys should be complimented, commended, whatever the word is, that you bring it up quickly so we
Yeah.
can fill the need of the town.
Well, yes,
So,
and
I appreciate it.
I don't know if, I'm maybe way off topic with this, I'm not sure, but just to give you a little bit of a preview, one of the other discussions we're gonna have tonight, at the board of select meeting, with the upcoming retirement of Paul Basler. It gives us an opportunity, just like we're doing with the building inspector / community development director, to look at the organization and is there a different organizational chart that should be considered that is in the best interest of the town of Kingston.
Well, and that's what I said in the emails back and forth to you guys.
So
I agreed with you as well, saying,
Yeah.
instead of running and jumping down, we could take the time to do it right.
Well, I think with this one, we have the time to do it right. If the board has any desire at all to consider it, we've got I think a capable foreman, at Street Trees and Parks, that will get all the support he needs from his coworkers, department heads, Paul Basler, when he needs it, to be successful in the position, whether it's in 2 months or 8 months. And it would allow the board to work collaboratively with all the people involved, including potentially water and sewer, to come up with a resolution and maybe no change. That they,
Or at least look at it.
Look at,
Yeah.
so there may be so I guess my long-winded story would be summarized by, at some point later on, before the annual town meeting timeline closes, you may have a public works director position that would be presented and discussed, and any other organizational changes that may need to be considered.
And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other fingers that touch that, especially if
There
you're talking
is.
about enterprise funds.
Yeah, so you know, how,
Yeah.
what role do the water and sewer commissioners continue to play?
Mm.
You know, how does that all work? There's some opportunities to, in my humble opinion, to um, collaborate with such, with opportunities such as engineering, for
Mhm.
example.
Mhm.
And-
Absolutely.
And I think there's an opportunity there. I think it's gonna have a lot of resistance. If there's an interest in making any sort of a change, impacts water and sewer. All I'm trying to do is, you know, I don't have a dog in the fight. I just want to, it's an opportunity to review it. We do it with every single position that comes available.
Yep.
Most of them, we don't have a lot of leeway. This one we do, and we ought to explore it.
Yeah.
And again, I think the fact that, you know, look for 5 or 10 years down the road what the needs are of the town, it makes a lot of sense, to at least look at it. If the decision is don't do anything, it's fine, but at least go through the process.
Yep.
I agree with you 100%.
So-
And, you know, I see a lot of other towns in what I do. And, you know, a good example is you've got the town of Dennis that has the 2 golf courses that produce a tremendous amount of revenue for the town. Well, that is not an enterprise fund. All that money goes directly back to the town and they fight for all their projects along the highway, streets, parks, facilities, everything else. Then you go to the town of Yarmouth, it is an enterprise fund. So the garage is air conditioned, they have nothing but the best equipment, and then whatever's left goes back to the town.
Good.
So, you know, so I'm sure there's some the balls in the air that have to be looked at to see where they settle. So,
Yeah,
you know, and then, like I said, I'm in a lot of them, so
yeah, no, I appreciate
but
it.
I'm in them in the trench level, so
But
I'm
which is-
seeing the effects.
But I think the vision you see when you go into those is helpful. For, you know, myself and others who may not be seeing things from that perspective. That when you share where you're coming from, it just provides one more perspective, that it might be just one small ounce
I
of
was in-
information.
I was
That's great
on
to
the
hear.
wage and personnel side, I was in a three towns today. Health insurance, 75% paid by the town, 25 by the employee, no deductibles.
Right?
Pretty impressive,
In Freetown?
yeah.
What's their plans, do you know?
I didn't ask what the plan is, but the guy had a double hernia operation and paid nothing. And he's turned around and said, and he goes, that's one of the best benefits in this town.
You know, everybody.
And again, they may be giving enough on the wage side. I'm not saying that's the
Absolutely.
way, I'm not saying that's the way. All I'm saying is you hear this and you go,
It's outside.
because my first thought was, boy, how can they do that in this town? Because there ain't no business, there is no industry, you know? It's agricultural and, you know, but it was just kind of interesting. But there's a lot of forestry agricultural businesses there.
Yeah, but
That's not gonna pay taxes, so, because the land's gonna be ag. So, but no, it's just interesting to hear.
Oh, absolutely.
something. But they also have probably a much smaller workforce.
Well, they do, but you know, like, again, I assume they're part of a collaborative, cooperative
Yeah.
type health insurance.
Yeah.
So they.
But I heard that today and I go, guys, hang on to it, because I'm in a lot of towns and I've never heard that, probably in the last 3 years.
I'm glad you heard it now and not 3 years ago,
Yeah,
from our point of view.
no, I'm just saying that,
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I don't know how they can afford, you know.
I said exactly the same.
And the worry is you've got no ability to manage the impact, the potential increases, right? I mean, you're part of a group and
it is what
hopefully
it
they're
is.
set, but man, there can't be many communities that operate the same plants.
No,
They might be self-funded, which is a whole
that could
Yeah.
be.
So.
I didn't ask
Yeah.
the specific, but I mean, I just caught my attention when
Sure.
Yeah,
They
that would
told
have
me that.
snapped you out.
So, I don't have anything else. Do
Okay.
you?
No,
Do you want to
like
make
I
a
said,
motion to
it was
accept
very-
this?
yeah, I moved to, okay, thank you. I'm old and decrepit. I
No,
moved,
just figured it'd save you all the words.
I know.
Cheat sheet, I don't know that.
Cheat sheet,
We all have them.
I have cheat sheets all over my house. Okay, I move to, recommend to, the town administrator and board of selectmen, classifying
Building
what
commissioner.
the formerly building commissioner, formerly known as building inspector, and also slash zone enforcement officer
So I
Grade
think,
11.
to grade 11.
so if I could, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I've been calling it commissioner. Because Jason said, in the requirements, it's building commissioner, but then today when we had a department head meeting, he talked about building inspector slash commissioner. I'm wondering if you guys would be okay with building inspector slash commissioner as the title of the position. If not, that's fine.
No,
We-
because building commissioner, does he have inspectors that report to him?
Yes.
Yes.
He
Single.
does.
So he can't be a building inspector and then supervising,
Fair
it doesn't make any
Well,
May I,
sense.
that's a great
may I
point.
make a friendly
Sure,
addition to your motion
sure, sure, sure.
to also change the title that's currently in the wage and personnel bylaw from building inspector slash zoning enforcement officer
Right.
to building commissioner.
I was trying to roll that in and I
Yeah.
don't think I was very smoothly done.
So would you
Yeah.
accept that? as a
Okay.
Friendly amendment.
Absolutely, I agree.
They will still be the zoning.
Yeah, that's.
So-
It's part of the, you've already outlined it.
Yes, I
in the
did.
job
I
description.
just.
All we're doing is.
I
Okay,
actually-
I apologize for coming in late. I just
No,
wanna
no,
make sure.
no.
I actually think in the bylaw, it might be inspector of buildings.
It is.
So now we're
Yeah.
gonna change that to building inspector, building commissioner
To replace. the
slash
position.
zoning enforcement officer. That's the new title on the
Yeah.
grade
Perfect.
11.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, so we've made that.
I fix it because in the bylaws inspector.
Okay,
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, okay.
One more thing, sorry, so this is gonna go to fall town meeting, but this technically will be effective as of July 1
July 1 when?
of this,
Mhm.
no, of this past year.
No,
It's
So how do
the
you
effective
change the
town meeting.
bylaw then?
We're going to town meeting, we have to change the bylaw.
Okay,
Yeah, I can't.
So it'll be effective, it'll be effective the vote of town meeting.
But will it allow you on town meeting, before town meeting, to advertise for the job?
we can advertise.
We can certainly advertise the position, and we have to look at the timing. The timing's gonna be a little quirky. Again, I don't foresee there being any issues with this. If we had to bring this person as a community development director, that's the other
But are they
alternative,
gonna
right?
come down?
Not no.
From 13 to 11.
I mean, I think timing wise, just between board of selectmen meetings and town meeting and all of that, I think we could advertise, do the recruitment process. I still think we'd be in time for it right after town meeting.
We don't have to rush this. We're fortunate and unfortunate. Fortunate that Paul Armstrong is here.
Yep.
We've spoken to him. He's willing to, he works 3 mornings a week right now. If there's some additional needs. Occasionally, I think he's willing to come in and do an inspection off hours, so to speak. For a short period of time. And so we're fortunate there, we're unfortunate, and I guess unfortunate that things are not moving. There's nothing happening. in the
Oh, you
building
just
side
have
of
some
things.
additions and rehab.
Very, very minor stuff. So, it's not like we're gonna have this huge backlog and we're not gonna be able to service the people who are in need of inspections with just a part-time person right now because of the vacancy. So, when the new person comes in, one of the things that we're gonna talk about during the process that is gonna, that I think he can take a lot of they can take a lot of their time on is violations of trust that have not been addressed.
Mhm. Agreed.
So,
Yeah.
that'll be a piece of what they do.
So. There's a motion on the floor. To accept it as a grade 11 position, to change the title of the building commissioner slash zoning enforcement officer. You guys are comfortable with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, effective as of, our vote is just today. In terms of what happens at town meeting, it's up to the selectmen if it goes on the
Yeah.
warrant. So we don't have to mention town meeting to us,
No,
okay?
Okay.
So that's the motion. I'm gonna second the motion. I'm gonna ask one question.
Absolutely.
Title V. It says that he will assist the Board of Health in Title V. Is that a major part of the position? No?
No, I think.
it just says
the-
assists the town's health
I mean,
inspector with
yeah,
Title
if
V.
they-
It
if
says
Because usually the
assist.
health inspector calls for the Title V.
Right.
and then oversees, usually guys go outside for that. And then the health inspectors with the Title V guy to certify.
So that language is in there, I think, if you've got an illness, vacation,
Okay, just wanted to,
something along
Yeah.
those lines where we have a Title V inspection needs to be done. We want to have some duplication of labor or personnel to be able to support that need, and that's there.
okay, sorry I didn't bring it up earlier, I
No,
just
it's fine.
remembered it.
Yeah,
So the motion's on the floor, the motion's been moved and seconded.
Can we just add something to
Sure.
the part where you're changing the title in the bylaw? Can you just?
Oh,
can
we
just
haven't
add at the
separated,
end,
like,
Act
okay.
grade 11, so that
Grade
it's in the bylaw,
At grade 11,
okay?
that's accepted,
Yeah, we did.
she did mention.
Well, you
grade 11.
recommend, you said recommend.
Yeah, because
to-
we're recommending to the board that we're
Right, but-
approving it.
but we're also going to change it.
Oh,
in the
that was,
bylaw.
yeah, that was separate. I think I understand what you're saying. It was
Well, I
not,
guess I'm focused.
you're
on the
looking for a
bylaw.
separate, your separate motion. So,
No, you
No,
can.
it can be rolled into yours.
okay,
It's kind of there. All we're gonna do is get another friendly amendment to clarify
Okay,
that
yep.
it will be changed to grade 11 in the bylaw. That's it,
Instead of a to be determined.
right,
a TBD.
okay,
Yeah, because there's no TBD, there's nothing there.
okay, you're okay with that?
So the building inspectors,
Inspector of
Versus-
buildings.
it's gonna be an inspector of buildings.
No, that's what's in there now.
That's what's in
That's
there
what's in
now.
there now,
So it'll be building commissioner / zoning enforcement officer.
correct?
And it'll say grade 11
Correct.
instead of, and building inspector of buildings and TBD go away.
Go away.
yes, because you're,
We're
You're-
changing
we're
the
replacing
grade.
you're-
Yeah, but we still have building inspectors.
Those are local inspectors, that's.
Oh, all right, okay. All right, so I'll have to check that out again.
Yes, because right now the position in the bylaw is inspector of buildings / zoning enforcement officer.
Correct.
TBD for the grade.
Okay.
So we're changing the title. and we're
Gotcha.
Changing
the
the
grade.
grade.
And you're okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
I'll-
way,
Yeah.
that's.
I'll-
what
I just like to get the title squared in my head and it was like.
I'll second the change
Okay,
and I'll call the roll. Lorraine,
yes,
Jim, yes. Okay,
thank you very much.
okay. Hopefully I didn't.
Crazy.
We didn't go too crazy, but
No,
I
no,
just wanted
I
to
appreciate you vetting it.
know. And then now this way you can go upstairs, talk to them.
and
And,
hope like heck.
and you're all set.
Thank you.
Okay, then we just have now Tina said there might be something we're gonna add to September 16th agenda.
That's the highway change.
Yeah, the highway change if possible.
So-
Are you bringing that up tonight?
I think
That's part of our next discussion.
one of the thoughts that was raised recently with the soon to be retirement of Mr. Basler. And I don't have a history of why, I think I know why it's streets and parks, but you know, there was a thought, can we just dumb it down and make the highway department? So.
Well,
so
there
if-
are highway departments and there are Department of Public Works.
I understand, and
And
Department of Public.
I don't know what
Works-
the benefit is.
So the argument, and I guess it's really it's gonna depend on. It's gonna depend on what the position ends up being, right? Because I think, and it could be just me. You could have a Department of Public Works. That does not include a water and sewer department.
Correct.
There were comments that were made at the department head meeting today, that would be confusing. That water and sewer is an independent department, then a highway department would be more appropriate than a public works department. I frankly, so I think it could go either way. I don't know that it's. I don't know. I think either title would be probably more accurate than streets, trees and parks.
Well,
Agreed.
it's just superintending the streets now.
I understand that, but the department is streets, trees and parks.
Right.
That's right.
Right,
And
I don't disagree with you. I just don't know what the benefits are, both in the law as being a DPW versus a highway department. I'm just not that delved in. I can tell you from some experience what I've seen and out there. And I would suggest you talk to the town of Dartmouth, North
Mhm.
Dartmouth.
Mhm.
Ask them. The guy's name is Craig Souza. He's the head of the he's the facilities guy in the DPW. He's a good guy to talk to.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
They have water.
Yep.
Part of it. Then you go over to, Fairhaven and water separate. And they're a Department of Public Works.
I would imagine that it would be.
I don't know Craig's boss, by the way,
Yeah.
Paul
Okay.
something or
Really?
other.
Sorry.
He's probably one of the commissioners.
Sure.
Okay, but this is the guy that, because the only reason I ask about it is because when they order materials, it gets billed to the Department of Public Works. However, there are some people that bill it directly to the water department.
So I think in my mind, that's one of the things that will, if the board wants to consider it, they'll explore and determine what makes the most sense.
I don't know
So-
if it makes you more eligible for grants or anything like that. I don't know.
It does, and just thinking out loud, until we know what the position is gonna be called, I'm not sure there's even a need to talk about what the department's gonna be. I mean, you could change highway department and have, the
Recreation handle parks.
well, no, well, they do now,
Yeah,
They
yeah.
pretty much do.
So that's, maybe Tina and I could talk and figure it out whether or not. The one question I guess I'll have, and Tina will give this to me at some point, she just hasn't, I'll just raise it, I'm just gonna get a sense of when your deadlines are gonna be for the Springtown meeting for any changes to the bylaw, because that's gonna probably dictate to some degree when the Board of Selectmen ultimately has to decide
Yeah.
what they're gonna do about the structure of public works versus.
Well, typically,
Yeah.
typically in October,
Yeah.
the memo goes out, because we have to be about 135 days or some number like that.
So it's like a November
From,
date.
from
yeah.
town meeting, and that puts it about the middle of December. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying, so it's just, because we went through this last year with like,
Was town meeting changed though?
well, it was
It's in
changed,
May.
right,
So that will give us another.
could be January. We're looking at those kinds
Because
of,
we had
So
to.
if you don't mind just checking for
I
me
think, yes.
and
I'll
just
figure
email
it out.
Tina when you get a minute. Again, nothing, doesn't have to be done tomorrow.
But town meeting is the.
Town
first
meeting is the
Saturday,
first Saturday in May.
So that will make it in June. Okay, I'll figure out.
That helps.
yeah, that'd be about, so probably about the first, second week of January.
Yep, that helps.
So so you basically have to do what we do tonight, which is we're gonna change the position, we're going to JQ it, blah, 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 blah.
Exactly,
You know,
absolutely.
and then you guys have to put the duties together.
Yep.
And that's a discussion between administration and the select board and how you're gonna do that.
Yep.
Yep, so,
Absolutely.
but before you do anything, I'd make a few phone calls to people
Oh, absolutely will.
that are living it.
Hey, no question. At the end of the day, we're not, this is something it's not something new. It might be something new to Kingston, but a lot of places have moved in this direction and we'll take advantage of the good things they've done and try to avoid the same mistakes they may have made.
And what you'll have, for instance, is the same thing I said about the golf courses and nets. They compete with water and public sewer and all that, so bringing them underneath that umbrella could now mean that they become part of capital project. In other words, throw the rock in the pond and watch where the ripples go.
I think they'd still ultimately be an enterprise fund.
They would.
I would think so. I don't think you want them to be dependent at all on property taxes.
No, but
So
their money
I understand.
goes in the big kitty.
I understand that, but if there's,
It's
but what I'm,
Before it's spent.
but and again, the challenges that. One of the challenges that I'm facing, or the town is gonna be facing is. There needs to be increases in the water and sewer rates to balance their budget. And if there aren't now, I mean, ultimately, it's still the general fund and the operating budget's responsibility to balance those. But they should be accounted for and funded independently of a person who doesn't have water and sewer, in my opinion. But it's all devil's in the details, right? Yeah. So we'll see.
But and you also have coming up the retirement of the mechanic.
Yes, sir.
So when that happens, I can just tell you what's out there.
Got nothing.
It's gonna be very difficult.
I know. We've talked about.
Matter of fact, I'll give you another one on Nugget.
I love that.
Tyler Equipment, Halifax, just signed a Pembroke.
So they're outsourcing all that stuff.
I just spoke with the guy who, yesterday. Because of
Halifax,
Tyler Equipment Halifax, the guy's name is Dave, I'll get you his card.
but the town of Halifax is
No,
also
Pembroke.
Pembroke.
Pembroke, and they're cutting out all their DPW.
No,
No,
they're
they're-
keeping it, you have to understand Pembroke. Pembroke has a garage, kind of like this one, and they put a lift in. Okay, the lift can lift, because of the roof height, can lift the dump truck 2 feet.
That's excellent. Nice little snug.
Okay, that's all they can lift it. Okay, so, it didn't make replacing brakes and issues very easy. So they, rather than spend the money to raise the roof, build a new building, blah, 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 they've elected to outsource to these guys.
Okay.
And these guys have facilities in Berlin, Long Meadow, and now opened up in Halifax.
So are there other municipalities that are outsourcing?
Town of Easton Easton Fire Department outsources to the town of Freetown, the town of Dartmouth, the town of Rehoboth. The town of Hanson, they do all the fire equipment repair for their vehicles in the town of Easton.
And that's good to know.
Tim Hicks
We
is
do
the
all
guy.
our fire department repairs at the vendor.
You doing it Greenwood, or you doing it Algonquin, or at the guys down in New Bedford.
Yep.
But the Plymouth, just so you know,
Mhm.
is actually talking about doing that over in the West Plymouth station that they just put $27 million in. Okay, the point I'm trying to say,
Doing.
outside
mechanical work?
repairs, taking work from other towns in,
Okay, good to know.
and you're right next to them, it might be worth a conversation,
Absolutely.
okay?
That's
And
great. Good to know.
you know, the town of Carver does all their own work because the guy's certified. You don't want to try to do that. No, you don't have the money will be, he'll make more than you. Just for all that certification.
That's good.
So,
Okay.
but no, I'm just saying, if you're
No, I appreciate
looking for
that.
different ideas that are out there.
We are. We talked about it internally. We tried to, does it make sense? Can we justify?
Now that Plymouth hasn't decided, they changed regimes over there, but I know they're working. for
Police regimes, you mean?
No, fire.
Fire, I'm sorry, fire.
Fire, in the secondary officers, they've changed some of their stuff, and they're looking for ways to bring in some
That'd
revenue.
be great. I'd be happy to provide some.
I just don't know what their capacity will be.
I don't either, but at the end of the day, I'd love to have our police fire chief talk to their fire chief. and see-
I love the fact that you don't have to go to
I agree.
Attleboro.
It's all good. No, it's all good.
That's easy.
But, again, that's what I hear, and, doing what I do, so.
Appreciate that. That's
Yeah.
great.
It's, sometimes it could be nothing, or they may not be that far yet, but they're at least talking about it.
Well, we're kind of in a holding pattern, frankly, we put all our stuff out, I don't see that changing. Because we just.
No, but if you,
But if we can plant
or
a
make a
seed,
Yeah,
suggestion.
well, I'm willing to have the conversation with Plymouth, and I don't want to speak for the fire chief.
Yeah.
If they're looking for some sort of a commitment, to have a certain amount or a certain type of repairs done, and it makes financial sense to bring it there versus bring it to a manufacturer, which I can't believe would be. Why would we not be willing to jump?
Like
on
I
that?
said, Rehoboth, Dartmouth, Freetown, Hanson goes to Easton, he has one day. That's all. And I get over there and I see all of these trucks and ambulances from different towns, and I said to him, and he goes, well, that's what we do, we take them in. We have this time here because of our fleet that we can turn around and
Beautiful
fit them
thing.
in.
It's a beautiful thing.
So, but, all right, well,
Thank you.
I don't mean to keep anybody any longer, because you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
go, you guys are good? Lorraine, you're good?
yes, I am.
Okay, could I take a motion then to
I
end the
move,
meeting at,
Are we all set with the agenda?
oh, the 16th.
sorry, the
The
16th,
16th,
well,
oh,
the
yeah.
16th, I'm sorry, the 16th is gonna develop, the
I
agenda,
have to post it tomorrow or Thursday.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
You'll know from them probably tomorrow if there's any discussion as it relates to what they're talking about for highway.
Yes.
Before what?
Changing the title.
I don't think we're gonna know in 2 weeks. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Let me back up.
Do you want to be on the agenda is what I'm saying?
I'll know better tomorrow morning.
Right, that's what we're
Okay.
saying.
You're okay with that?
If the board doesn't want to move and they want to keep everything the exact same, then there's no reason to be about
Okay, is there anything else on your world that we need on the agenda? Is there anything else?
Well, we'll have to work out what to do for fall town meeting.
We have a little time.
When is
You
the
have a
deadline?
timeline for that.
So I've got a timeline, the deadline, I wanna say October 8th. For
October 8th, when you would need every,
when the warrant closes. So I have a placeholder
okay,
on my warrant now for wage and personnel changes, knowing that we're gonna have this building, or assuming we're gonna have this building situation. So I think I've met that the deadline, but again, the sooner I can get whatever the revised bylaw is.
it would just be Schedule A. That's the only change.
Schedule A, yeah.
Mm.
And I think-
The grades you're
Yep.
using, what's there?
Yep.
All you're
Agree.
changing is the title.
Sure.
And
We'll just
put
add
the
it.
grade on it.
So that would be easy.
Yeah, and then, what about the water administrator?
That's on the
Yes,
agenda
yeah.
for the next meeting.
Yep.
To discuss that.
So that might be.
That's another possible change.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make is, looking at the calendar, if October 8th is what you're thinking the cutoff is on the warrant,
I believe that it is.
and you're not gonna be here on the 16th. So.
No, I won't be
Could
back.
we possibly schedule another meeting somewhere during the 2nd or the 3rd of October?
Yeah, that would be fine.
That, so that would
So
be
we're
our
gonna-
final meeting before town meeting,
Okay, so we're still
from
going
the
to,
standpoint of the warrant.
we're still going to meet next Monday.
Still gonna meet next Monday.
Yes,
We're changing our October meeting.
Right, okay, because Lorraine also needs to change, and so let's agree on when we wanna change October to. Do we want, the options, I'm assuming if the room's available, are the 1st? Or the 3rd?
Yeah, Wednesdays aren't good for me.
No, 1st or 3rd, and Jennifer will let us know. Okay,
Are those dates good for you?
those okay, Lorraine?
yes.
Okay,
Or how about
great.
Tina?
How about
Yeah,
you,
I'm
Tina?
fine with those. And is that replacing the October?
Yeah.
Or added to?
No,
it?
it'll be replacing, hopefully replacing the October meeting, unless you have something else.
Normally we
I'll
can
make
do
something
the
up.
third Monday, but I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be here.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that way you could review,
So-
review my changes to schedule.
Right,
So we get all set.
okay, all right, and then that way we're meeting his timetable as well.
Thank you
Okay.
very
Yeah.
much.
All right, so you're good as far as the next meeting goes and October, correct?
Yes.
Okay, can I now have a motion to end the meeting at 5:44 PM on September 10th?
So moved.
I will second it. I'll call the roll. Lorraine?
Yes.
Jim, yes. Thank you.